Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. And I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And as you know, today's topic is really important. Most people are spending their time on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, but LinkedIn, I think, is where it's at, especially for businesses and professionals. So with that, we have Naomi Johnson. She's an expert LinkedIn profile writer. And today's topic is going to be all about the LinkedIn profile. There are so many components to having success there, but she's specialized in the profile. So Naomi, welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Tell the audience about, your story, your origin story, and we'll get started.
Yeah, so I started off in a business in 2005 saying I was going to be a life coach. 2008, when the big crash happened, the financial crash, I could see Canary Wharf from my bedroom window and all the drama that was going on there. And my business too came to a crashing end, but not for any reason related to what was going on there. I had to take full responsibility for that. I made every mistake in the book. And I can tell you it's every mistake in the book because I literally wrote a book about it, Grassroots to Green Shoots. And when I wrote that book, it got me quite a bit of recognition. A lot of industry leaders, people who built some actually $1 billion brands, said, I wouldn't even think to teach somebody this. I just assume they know already. Then I started to teach people. I went and worked and mentored under somebody who was teaching people how to market their business as a coach. So I learned a great deal from her, took over the business, started introducing LinkedIn training. This was 11 years ago. And then I got headhunted by somebody that I knew that had trained me in sales. And I went to work with them, selling LinkedIn training. And I invented the LinkedIn profile review. So that's 10 years old now. I've been doing those. That led me to writing my book, What to Put on Your LinkedIn Profile. And one thing or other, that other job, we were in partnership with LinkedIn. We're in and out of their offices all the time, and the company was going down the corporate route. But I knew with my training and my background, I wanted to work with individuals. So that's when the profile company started, and that was 8 years ago.
Interesting. It's amazing how social media has really taken off. It's about since their mid to late 2000s. Tell us why people should be on LinkedIn and not on Instagram or TikTok or
Well, it all depends on your audience. I stick to LinkedIn and just LinkedIn because I talk about LinkedIn, but it is a professional network. It's where you expect to talk about business. So you're going to meet with people in a professional way, like going to a networking event. That is what LinkedIn is. Whereas Facebook is more about like going to a carnival, a weekend away somewhere, seeing your ideal prospect there with his 2 kids and his dog and his wife, and going over there and trying to give him your business card. You're probably going to annoy him more than anything else and alienate him. And that's exactly what's going on Facebook. Is their private personal space. They are literally there with their kids and their dogs, and they don't want to be approached. So it's about getting the environment right for what you're doing. If you're selling business to consumer, it's brilliant because they're there to have a consuming conversation related to their family. And Instagram is nice, but it does require a lot of content, a lot of shorts, a lot of videos, a lot of photos. And that's not everybody's cup of tea, especially that volume. So LinkedIn remains the professional platform to be on. And it's accepted that we are going to talk about business here.
Yeah. So, because because you specialize in the profile and you talk about this idea in the backstage, you talk about LinkedIn frustration factor, why some people see results, why some people don't, what can they do about it?
Yeah. So the obvious thing is why people wouldn't see results is because they haven't filled in their profile. And it kind of annoys me when I see more people go, right, you just fill in your headline and you put down a background image and you put something in the about section. It's like, yeah, we know that already. It's obvious. But it's about lining up the thinking behind it. It's about working with the psychology of how people have come to your LinkedIn profile. And it's about building that together with the foundations of your business and how your business is structured. So when I say that, I mean, how does your LinkedIn profile connect to your sales funnel? How is someone going to journey through coming to an awareness that they have a problem on your profile all the way through to being ready to invest and being able to book an appointment and speak to you, all from the LinkedIn profile. So that is the structures of it. And that is like, you've got to think about how people are coming to your profile. No one logged in today to view your profile. And if they did, it's probably because they just met you and they need to quickly connect with you before they forget. Therefore, no one's reading it. So what we have to do is we actually have to stop people in their tracks. So they stop and go, oh, what is this? I must look at it. And they've got two questions in their mind. How is this relevant to me? And is this a good use of my time? And we need to answer that quickly and get them to a point where like, right, yeah, I've got it. I get what you do. This looks fantastic. I'll tell my friend about it because you'd be great for them. Or they go, oh, this is for me. And unlike keywords searches and websites where you actually need to know you have a problem and be educated in that problem enough to know the keyword to actually search for it, LinkedIn will awaken people to problems. It will educate them on the problems. It will get them to the point they're like, actually, this is something I need to invest in. Even though half an hour ago or less, they couldn't have Googled it because they didn't know the words to Google, because they didn't know a solution existed. They didn't even realize that they had a problem. They were just living with the status quo. So it's fantastic for interrupting people's days and just generating new leads, but new leads who didn't even know that they themselves were a lead.
And it's what makes things so, so what are some things, aspects, some attributes that make a profile stand out? Like, what should people be aware of or conscious? Like, give us some.
Yeah. So you got the obvious is obviously like the background image sets the context of the conversation that we're there to have. The photo is like looking at you across the room and going, oh, that's a friendly looking person. I'll go say hello. Hi, my name's Naomi. Your name's Christopher. That's the name. And what do you do? I do this. What do you do? That's the headline. And then you've got to think about, hey, I'm going to get to talk to this person and keep their interest for 2 minutes straight without being interrupted and without them objecting to what I'm going to say. Because if they object or there's a question posed, that person will start answering it, and then they won't read the rest of the profile. So we've got literally 2 minutes in the about section to say, hey, this is the problem and how it shows up in the world. This is why I'm good at what I do. This is why you need to solve it. Here's a little bit more about the problem. And I invite you to jump in and have a conversation with me. So that's the about section. And then the experience section needs to just confirm to somebody, yes, you're in the right place. This is the business that I do. And these are the services that I offer. And what will happen is a person will click on the link, book an appointment with you at a time that's appropriate for them, which could be any time zone and any time of the day, according to their schedule. They will book in with you, and they will, from the time they book the appointment to the time of having the appointment, they will be talking to you in their head about working with you, what working with you would look like, and if they could see themselves doing it. Instead of it being a question mark of, I have no idea what that could look like, they'll actually have some idea because you've written it on there, and they'll actually be going back and forth in their own mind. Could I see myself doing that? Well, I'd have to ask this question. Well, and they'd be evaluating it. So that's how people can come pre-sold to you. And the key thing is, in all of that, is you've got to stand for a very particular problem that you solve. So you stand out in the marketplace. And that is absolutely key. Otherwise, it's just a bland profile.
So we can go in so many different directions. One thing is, you talk about this concept, this idea of how to become the only person your prospects want to work with.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things I've mentioned already that really lend themselves to that. There's actually a study that says if you are the first person to bring someone to an awareness that they have a problem, 74% of people will buy from you. So that's a pretty big statistic to say. If you awaken someone to the problem and then you nurture them through identifying with it, then doing their research around it and diagnosing, yeah, I've got this problem, and then helping them solve it to a certain level of what they can. So they go, I can't just read a book on this. I can't just watch a YouTube video on this. I need to get some proper help. And they come around to the point where they've got to invest. Who are they going to choose to work with? It's you. And when we know that you know what we now know, they're going to trust you as their chosen person and want to work with you more than anybody else. So that's the pre-sold. And then the ready to buy is that they know that they can't do this for themselves, and they've put budget and investment to invest aside, that they are prepared to pay for it. And you've told them, this is how I actually work with people. This is what you can expect. So they've actually advanced themselves massively through their own buying decision, because they've already had that internal conversation with themselves. And now it's just a chemistry check. Do I have this problem? Are you the solution? And can I see myself working with you?
Yeah, I love that. And then, we can, as you go through the sales funnel, you get the prospect, the leads. How do you get prospects coming to you pre-sold and ready to buy?
Everything I just said. It's really about standing for that very clear problem and awakening people to that problem.
Oh, sorry.
And if
you go ahead. You're great. What are the key stages a person must pass through to want to buy?
The key stages a person must go through. It's really interesting, actually. I will do this for you with a diagram. If people are listening and they've got a pen, they're very welcome to just draw this, and I will say it so they can draw it. But they just draw a circle, and at 12 o'clock on there, they write new lead. At 6 o'clock, sale. 4 o'clock, sales appointment. And 10 o'clock, complete. When we look at that, we can see that between 6 o'clock, when the sale is made, up to 10 o'clock, we've got the ability to deliver our transformational package. Then from complete to new lead, we can write case studies and testimonials that say how great we are and the transformation we've delivered. But also we can awaken people to the problem that they have, because they're reading the testimonial going, oh my gosh, I have that problem. That's me. Gosh, I need some of this help. So that's one way we can awaken somebody. So that creates a new lead. Plus everything that we're posting on social media, talking about the symptoms of the problem that we solve, will have someone go, who's just getting on with life, thinking, this is just the way life is. Isn't this normal? Everyone's like this. Everyone struggles in this way. They will, and you could literally give your 60-second pitch in a room with them, and they go, oh yeah, that's nice, yeah. And you're just looking at them going, yeah, but you have this problem. And they're like, oh yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, no, carry on, next person. It doesn't resonate with them. So the reason is because they don't know that they have that problem. So when we can awaken people, they'll go, oh my gosh, that's what's going on with me. We've created awareness. So at 12 o'clock, we've got new lead. At 1 o'clock, we've got identify. And between 12 and 1, we've got create awareness. So we're going to go from new lead to creating the awareness. The person identifies with it. And then they say, well, let me dig into this a little bit more. Let me do a bit more research. And so research occurs. And then they diagnose themselves, go, yep, this is definitely my problem. Then they say, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to watch a YouTube video, da-da-da-da-da. And that's the self-implementation. And then they get to, oh, I can't do it. I'm going to invest. And then from invest, they say, well, who am I going to work with? And that's where profile comes into it. And in this stage, I don't actually mean the whole of your LinkedIn profile. I mean the whole of everything I would see and find out about you if I Googled you. It needs to all be succinct and look like it's the solution to the problem. That's me know, liking and trusting you. And then that's the point at the sales appointment at 4 o'clock. That sales appointment is where I'm going to book the appointment with you. And then between 4 and 6 is where we have the sales appointment. And depending on what you're selling, there might be some stages in there. But ideally, we want to make that as easy and processed as possible and lead people through. And that then would get you to the point where you can ask the buying question, would you like this? And so it's really about getting all of the systems and structures in your business correct in order for that to happen. And that's why people get frustrated on LinkedIn. They're doing everything the gurus tell them. They're posting content. They're sending messages. They're connecting with new people, but they're not getting any business. It's because the profile doesn't resonate with their ideal market, doesn't position them as a go-to expert, and doesn't lead them into the sales funnel. And they're not solving a very specific problem and talking about the symptoms. And that all comes down to the foundations of the business and getting those right first. So my work with people, I do write people's LinkedIn profiles, but my work always starts with getting that foundation in the business correct first.
And I know you wrote a book. You talked about this expert economy. Yeah, tell people what it's about and where they can find it and how they can
Yeah, so you can find it on Amazon or via my website. So this is the book, The Expert Economy. It's a step-by-step methodology for self-employed business owners to quickly establish their business and get paid for the value they create. And in here, I literally talk about all of these things. I talk about the psychology of how people buy, putting together a product ecosystem, leveraging trust in your network on LinkedIn, all sorts of different things in there. It's a big book, actually. It's 322 pages. For those looking at the video, you can see it's a good looking book. It's got pictures in it. Yeah, so that came out in 2020, and it goes with my other two books, which are Grassroots to Green Shoots, 6 Fundamental Principles to Help Early Stage Business Owners Prepare the Ground for Steady Growth. And it includes a 30-day rescue plan for people who are perhaps in trouble with their business. I wrote this one in 2010. This is one I mentioned. It's got every mistake in the book. And then also what's got your LinkedIn profile, which is 2018. You can find a few bits of that on my website as well. So yeah, those are the 3 books that I have written on the subject of being that expert in your industry and in really standing out for the problem that you solve.
Yeah, and let's thank for this wonderful interview. A lot of gems. LinkedIn is so important for today. Everybody should be on it, especially business owners. Naomi's resources will be in the links and show notes, and reach out to her on social. And thanks so much for coming onto the show.
Thank you for having me.